Back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, let's get right to it. Talk some Warrior basketball with Anthony Slater, 95.7 The Game's NBA and Warriors insider. Also writes for The Athletic, and he had a very good piece today. The Miami Heat have come to an agreement with Tyler Hero, which a lot of people have compared at least to Jordan Poole. Tyler Hero got 4 years, $130 million, more like 120 when you take out the incentives that aren't likely to be met. It's a long way of me trying to ask you, Anthony, do you think the Warriors are going to be able to reach an agreement with Jordan before October 17th?
They meet the steep asking price, maybe. The funny thing about the incentives you were mentioning and how unlikely they are, one of them was like Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, like he gets $1 million. So it really is a 4 for 120.
Gotcha.
But, you know, like the market has been set, essentially. I mean, again, it's kind of what I wrote about, but like there's not enough. Like, is there another player in the league that you feel like compares better to Jordan Poole than Tyler Hero? Like young, scoring guard, 6'5", they're almost the same size. They kind of have the same flaws, the same strength. The efficiency numbers are very similar. I'd argue Poole's a little bit better. They're both on contenders. They're both in very good franchises with stars around them. They're both kind of six men that want to start, and they're both from Milwaukee. They're the exact same age. And Jordan Poole, you know, and this is a part of it that I think really matters as we talk about, like, the market of Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole grew up 30 minutes away, like, comparing himself to Tyler Hero. Like, you don't think he might want at least the Tyler Hero contract? Like, this was such bad timing for the Warriors.
Wow, what's up, Anthony? Always good to talk to my former teammate. You know how we do it. Hey,
we got to run a little pick and roll. Like,
hey, you tell me. I'm trying to get Steiny out there. He says he's done. He's Iguodala, but you let me know and I'll show up. I'm excited about Wiseman, and let me tell you why. Because I was like, has he gone to the lab? Has he got thick? And, man, he's put on some muscle to me, and he's using it. Now, I got to be careful here. I told Steiny a concern, and it's a couple games this preseason, his hands, Anthony. If somebody came to you and said, I'm worried, not worried, I'm concerned, I'm watching his hands, how would you respond to that?
Well, first of all, you need to temper the expectations because you've been pumped about Wiseman for 3 years now.
I'm tired.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, the hands were a problem in the rookie year. I mean, you know, it's catching, you know, tight window passes, little fastballs, and it's also, to me, the ricochets off the rim, those rebounds that, you know, if Kevon Looney gets a hand on it, it's like a vacuum. He's basically vacuuming it in. Like Wiseman does not have that. It's, you know, more than just, you know, it's like fumbly hands. I think it's timing that he doesn't have because of the lack of reps, and also just like, you know, that's like the brain moving very fast. Like I think part of the reason Looney's become such a good rebounder, he's reading angles and his brain is moving so fast that his hands like already go into a place where the ball's coming. Whereas like Wiseman just does not have that yet. It'll take time, but yeah, you're gonna. I mean, look, there's gonna be some turnovers this season by, you know, that might even be charged to the guards that will frustrate them, and they'll be, you know, missed rebound attempts. And you know, if you're the Warriors, you just hope over time, as he gets 10 straight games under his belt, 15 straight games, that's minimized. There's less of that because, you know, the one thing I would say about his rookie year, when the hands were an issue, he always seems to get better when he could get to like a 7th straight game, an 8th straight game. The problem was it was like, oh, he had to go in COVID protocol. Oh, he had a sprained wrist. Oh, the meniscus. But if he could string games together, he had more of a rhythm, and I think when he has more of a rhythm, the brain's moving quicker, and which means the hands are moving quicker.
Anthony Slater joining us on 95.7 The Game. We're talking Warriors. I got to just come back to the end of your last answer to my first question when you said that the Hero contract you think is bad timing for the Warriors. Does that mean in a perfect world they wouldn't have to re-sign him this year?
No, I mean, I think, look, they're entering negotiations with Jordan Poole's representatives. I mean, there's some type of meeting that's likely to happen in the coming days, you know, next week or so. And if they could have gone into that negotiation where, you know, if you're looking at comparable contracts, which happen in every negotiation across the league, that's just how it works with these public contracts, that, you know, the Warriors could say, look at the Anthony Simons deal, look at the RJ Barrett deal. You know, it's kind of been set for 107, and the comparisons are a little off, where it's easier to make arguments like, you know, when the players aren't so obviously comparable. But the problem is right before they're going into the negotiations, the Heat, a smart front office, has reset the market for a player that is more comparable to anyone in the league at 4 for $120. Yeah. And like for that to be like now, it's very difficult for them to come in and say, would you take 108, Jordan? Would you take 105? Like, you almost got to meet 120 now, or else it probably is not getting done. And I would make the argument you should get it done now, because I think there's more of a likelihood that he plays himself towards, $33 million type max money as a starting salary. And it's a lot more complicated next summer as you're trying to reconfigure a team with a bunch of other situations. Then he has a down year and suddenly you can get him on a bargain.
Let me ask you about Klay Thompson, because I was telling Steiny, I was shocked, and I mean this, at the minutes he played, as long as he played in the playoffs, I was like, forget what he shot, just the fact that he was out there. I know he didn't play against the Wizards, but this year, Anthony, do you expect him to show the world, you know what, not I'm just back. We've seen that, but I'm back. Like, what do you think we're going to see minute-wise from Klay Thompson?
Well, we got an interesting situation going on right now in training camp where he did not play at all over the summer. He said he told us in Japan it was a mental block. I mean, because he tore his Achilles in kind of unsupervised pickup ball, and it doesn't seem like he wants to get in that type of setting anymore. And because he didn't play all summer, they've really kind of slow played him into camp. He has not scrimmaged yet at all. He didn't play in the first 2 preseason games, as you mentioned. Sounds like he's not going to scrimmage tomorrow, won't play Sunday. For him to be ready for the opener, they want him to play one of the final 2 preseason games. I don't think it's of any great concern. He says the body feels good, but, you're already starting the season seeing how, at this age, he still has, even though he's further removed from those injuries, they're still in his background. They have to be much more careful with his body. So I don't think you've got some explosive, 80 games played, vintage, prime, 27-year-old Klay Thompson season coming. I mean, even if he didn't have the injuries, we're talking about a guy that's, 32, 33. Typically, you start to gradually decline at that age. So, I think he'll have a good season. But I kind of thought, generally considering what we figured he might look like coming off those injuries, I thought he had a good playoff.
Yeah, I do too. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken,
the percentages were the same.
If I'm not mistaken, Anthony, it was weird. It looked like his numbers were exactly the same regular season and postseason this past year.
From 3 and from the field.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, I thought that was coincidental. Yeah, go ahead.
The shooting looks like he's always going to be able to hit 3, and maybe he's not doing as much burst type stuff, but he never was like an off the dribble, I'm going to go to the rack guy all game. The biggest difference to me is the defense. He cannot guard the John Morants of the world anymore. He's downsizing. It was interesting today. Steve Kerr was talking more rotations, lineups, different combinations, and they got to get guys on the court like Moody, DiVincenzo, and he mentioned Klay maybe at times in certain small ball lineups being a stretch 4. He's more upsizing himself as he gets older, and he's not like a 3-4 more than a 2-3.
Interesting. Hey, Anthony, thank you so much. It should be a fun year, man. Looking forward to it.
Yep, I am too. Thanks for having me.